So once again, Yali Madad. So our original subject for the day was, we're going to call it Ilm Ki Seedi, the step toward the Hakiki knowledge. Just like our physical world and our physical being, everything are on a steps. Example is like a stairs. Just like we are born, we go through this childhood, adolescent, become young, and then we get into workforce, we get married, have children, on and on and on. In the school life, we go to KG, nursery, KG, first grade, middle school, high school, colleges, and same thing at work. We start somewhere on the bottom, then we get all the way to the top. It is a step. In tariqa, in religion, there are also steps. So first we're going to talk about just 4 generic steps that we all know about, which is Shariat, Tariqat, Haqiqat, and Marifat. Of course, each one of those steps has a lot of small steps to cross. Just like that in the knowledge, in the true knowledge. So what is the difference between information and the knowledge? Mullah says in his Farman, there is too much information, but all the information is not knowledge. And then Mullah said there is too much knowledge, all the knowledge is not good knowledge. So we're going to stop at this 3 and then we will talk about the next level up. Too much information, all the information is not knowledge. So as educated people, as intellectual people, as a follower of the Imam and his Farman, we should be able to weed out all the information which is not knowledge. Which is not knowledge. And our social media is not helping us at all. There is a rain and flood of information thrown at us every single day, and we are wasting our life away on reading, watching, and forwarding those unnecessary information from one to the other. Imam has warned us about that, about social media, and he has told us to be careful in using this social media. Because on the social media, a person lives a life which is not his life, which is not his true life. He lives a different life on social media. As an Ismaili, as a follower of the Imam, we should be consistent in our life, and we should be following the knowledge that Imam has given us, the Faramini has given us. Does not matter if it is our physical life, our family life, our work life, or our religion life. We should be following that knowledge, because he has given us Farman for everything, how we should live within the ethic of Islam. So come back to our subject, Ilm Ki Seedi. In the true knowledge, first we need to understand why do we need knowledge, and then we need to understand why do we need to know the true knowledge. If we have no knowledge of something, we will not be able to appreciate that whatever there is. And then second, there is a danger then we may be following something entirely wrong. And the third danger is that even if it's right, we are not benefiting from it because we don't have knowledge. So let's take some of the example. Because there is so much information and there is so much bad knowledge out there, if we don't have a knowledge, I'm not talking about true knowledge, just a knowledge, a basic knowledge of our religion, our tariqah, then someone can come from outside and they can influence us in a bad way that at the minimum we may start doubting our tariqah. But at the maximum level, God forbid, we may even leave our tariqah, leave our imam, leave the nur. And it's all because we don't have the knowledge. We have nothing to compare. Now, the true knowledge. So let's say we do have a knowledge and we are safe from other people's doubt. But then we are standing on one single level. So we admitted into the school, we are in first grade, but then we may never move on to the second grade. And that's what we call Shariat. So in our tariqah, do we know what is our Shariat is? Because Imam says we are in Haqiqat. But do we even know what our Shariat is? Have we been to the first grade? Have we passed the first grade? So in Islamic tariqah, there are 3 Shariat only. Only 3 Shariat. What is Shariat? The law, the must, the farz, compulsory, rites and ritual. The law, the must and the compulsory. The rites and rituals. And those are only 3. Number 1, 3-time dua. Must and compulsory. Number 2, the sun. Must and compulsory. And number 3 is Chandra's Majlis. That's it. Those are 3 compulsory. Nothing else is the Shariat. Everything else we do is called Nawafil. Extraordinary with the love of the Imam. Now we're going to take some of the examples so we know what is the knowledge compared to what is a good knowledge. Knowledge, we all know. We go to Jamaatana, we say Hezinda, we go to Dua Karani, we sit down, we say Ginans, we say our Dua, there's a Farman, there's a Tasbiyat, we say another Dua, we do Nandi, and we come back. But out of all that, in that one single day, only thing that was first was Dua. Not even Tasbih, not even Dua Karani, not even Nandi. Nothing was compulsory. We do all that as a part of our rites and ritual for the love of the Imam. And when we do something more than what was compulsory put on us, then Imam does more than what is obligated to do for us. What is Imam is obligated to do for us? To give us the guidance. That's his obligation. That's it. Just farman. But when we do something nawafil, something extraordinary, what does Imam do for us? Extraordinary. He gives us a blessing and then he gives us Ismi Azam. That is our inam. That is our inam from the Imam when we say, I want to do something extraordinary, I want to do the ibadat. That's extraordinary. So in return, he gives us Ismi Azam. It's not obligatory on the Imam to give us Ismi Azam. If he don't choose not to do so, he will not do it. But as an inam, as his mercy, and only with our free will, when we say, Malawapa, we wanted to do extraordinary ibadat, we want to come to Baitul Qiyam, then he gives us the Ismi Azam. Do we see the difference between the faraz, the compulsory, and nawafil, the extraordinary? So when we do something extraordinary, he does something extraordinary. Remember, we are not talking about Baitul Qiyam here. We are talking about the steps of the knowledge. Knowledge and the true knowledge is so important in our tariqah that Imam, from the first Farman all the way into the Diamond Jubilee Farman, he talks about use of the intellect in Islam. The necessary part of an Ismaili tariqah is the use of our intellect. Because through and with that intellect, we can understand the true knowledge. Because knowledge, everybody may understand. But the true knowledge, the personal search, the detail and the wisdom behind the knowledge is only for the people of the knowledge and the wisdom. So now we're going to come from knowledge into wisdom. Imam in the same Farman continues, and then within the knowledge is very little wisdom. That reminds me of two of the ahadith. Prophet Muhammad in one place says, I am the city of the knowledge and Ali is the gate. Listen to the words. I am the city of the knowledge and Ali is the gate. And then he says, I am the house of the wisdom and Ali is the door. क्या फर्क है इस दोनों में? जब wisdom की बात आई, the example is of a city and Ali is the gate. But जब wisdom की बात आई, he said, I am the house of wisdom. One small house in a huge city. Do you see how little the wisdom is? And then at that place, Ali is the door. Not the gate, but a door. When we have the true knowledge, and when we listen to Imam's Farman, when we hear the dua and the ayat and surahs, and when we hear the ahadith, or any wisdomful lectures and the articles, our brain, our mind will help us understand those farman and articles and ginans and duas and surahs and ayats. What did we just learn from this ahadith and this farman? When Imam said there is so much information, wisdom is not the knowledge, all the information is not the knowledge. And then within the knowledge, there is very little wisdom. And then here we have this ahadith. The example of the knowledge is like a city, but the example of a wisdom is like a house. Very little. What do we have? Do we have information? An example of a country? Do we have a knowledge? An example of a city? Or do we have a wisdom? An example of a house? We do not need information of a country. We do not need the knowledge of a city. We need the wisdom. उसका जो निचोड़ होता है ना, the essence, the mux. That's what we need to understand our tariqah. Otherwise, we can be 10-year-old or 100-year-old we will not be able to understand our tariqah. And when we don't understand our tariqah, how will we follow the faramin of the Imam? Because we don't even understand. And that is the reason the knowledge, the true knowledge, or seeking the knowledge is so important. Why do we gather over here every Sunday morning? This is the best time to go home and sleep. There is no better sleep than Sunday morning sleep. Why are we here? What we are saying, that we seek knowledge. We wanted to learn the wisdom within that knowledge. We wanted to understand our tariqah. We wanted to understand the faramin of the Mawla and the Ginan and the Dua. Otherwise, on the superficial level, we have enough knowledge to recite the Dua, listen to Farman, and hair comes from the other ear. And then we go home and we have almost 21 hours to do our worldly thing. Right? But with the wisdom, you can take those 21 hours and turn that into the religion. And how do we do that? Can we take those 21 hours and turn that into religion? So first let's talk about 3 hours compared to 21 hours. What is the wisdom behind these numbers? How come we only practice our tariqah for 3 hours? Why not 4 hours, 6 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour? Why 3 hours? Look at our dasan. How much is our dasan? 12.5%. 12.5%. What is the 12.5% of 24 hours?
3 hours.
He's the accountant. He's telling us 3 hours. That is our the song of our daily time of 24 hours. Do you understand the wisdom in our tariqah? That is the wisdom in our tariqah. This is not the knowledge. This is not the normal knowledge. So when we listen to those things, when we see those things, when we practice those things, we should know the wisdom behind it. Anything we do. Even if you are walking into Jamaatan and go establish a shoes company, we need to understand the shoes company. Now who wanted to understand shoes company? Not people of the information or the knowledge. That is only for the people of the wisdom. And what Imam says? Our tariqah is for the people of the intellect, and one with the wisdom will understand it. ऐसा नहीं बोला कि जिसका information वो understand करेगा. And he didn't say one with the knowledge. One with the wisdom will understand it. उसका word use करते हैं एल तौफीक. The one who has been blessed. Blessed with what? Money?
Divine mercy.
Divine mercy. One with the divine mercy. The blessing of the Imam's mercy will understand that. Now, where do we stand? We can be of the masses, or we can be of the few.
Few chosen ones.
The chosen one.
Subhanallah.
That is our free will, okay? No one can tell you, including Imam. He's not going to come and force you. He has given you free will. How many times does Imam repeats word free will in his Baitul Karam Farman? We found one single Farman in which he uses free will, your wish, 6 to 8 times in 2 paragraphs. He's not taking your free will away. If your free will is to stay in our Hakiki Tariqah on the Shariat level, then so be it. That's your free will. But we are not at the Shariah level. Why are we sitting there? We are supposed to be walking on Sirat al-Mustaqim. How do we walk on Sirat al-Mustaqim if we don't know how to walk? We have no vision, we have no roadmap, we have no direction. So where do we get all this from? From the true knowledge. And for that, we need to sacrifice some of our time. And in this particular case, 2 hours a week. I don't think that's too much to ask. In our life, we went to school and colleges, some 18 to 20 years, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. Just 2 hours a week? I think we can do that. So we can understand our tariqah. So we don't have to sit on the level of Shariat. And all this comes with the true knowledge. So one of the class, I think it was previous week, somebody was asking, how do we know what true knowledge is? Where do we find the true knowledge? And Imam has given us a farman of that. Personal search. You seek, you shall find. But if you don't seek, Imam has no obligation toward you. If you're not doing personal search, he's not going to come and knock on your door and say, no, you must do that, because that's not part of our Sharia. If you search and if you seek, I have never met a person who have seek and searched and not found the true knowledge. They always and always find true knowledge. Sometimes a little bit late, but they always find it. And let me tell you, we are never late. The day we start, that is the beginning of our life. So one time a teacher was going away. So students gathered around and said, teacher, before you go on your journey, if you have one word of wisdom, what would that be? And teacher said, increase your life. All the students were puzzled. The life is in the hand of God. I do not decide how many years I'm going to live. How do I increase my life? Teacher repeats, increase your life. Then he explains. The true life is the one that you expand in the remembrance of the Imam.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah.
वो आपकी सच्ची जिंदगी है. All the other time that you live in ignorance is like a death. You may look alive, but you are like a dead person. And what is the Imam's one for this? Even if you have a 5 second, remember me. Remember Allah. Remember Muhammad. Remember any of the Imams. That is his farman. That's exactly what the teacher was saying. So, and that is how we can take our 21 hours and turn that into ibadat. Turn the 21 hours in ibadat. Imam says in Farman, Pir Sadaruddin was just like you, but he did 16 hours of ibadat. I'm saying 16 hours? Pir Sadaruddin, he was sleeping. We are talking about 21 hours now. Because in this time, Imam has given us the tools to remember him 21 hours. And 3 hours, we are already doing it. That comes 24 hours. He has given us that tool. So someone can quickly say, but I do sleep for 8 hours. How do I remember him while I'm sleeping? Teach us that part. No, I don't need to teach you. Imam has already given us this farman 100 years ago. How many years ago? 100 years ago. Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah says, may our soul be sacrificed to that Imam. If a moment, the condition, moment. If a moment do his tasbih and remembers me, before he sleeps, I will count his sleep in ibadat.
Subhanallah.
How easy can Imam make for you? Just by doing tasbih and remembering before sleep, your sleep is counted as ibadat. That's 8 hours right there. Work. But we work 8 hours. How do I remember him? Do your work within the ethic of Islam. Follow the Farman of Imam, that's ibadat. That's another 8 hours. How many hours we have now? 16 plus 3. 19 hours. Alright? If you raise your family with the Farman of Imam, with the ethic of Islam, and I'm going to go in a little bit detail over here, raising your children. So, when you send your child to the college and say, if you take this degree, you'll make $100,000. If that is your purpose, and Imam says what about that? If your only goal was to earn money, then that is a sad day. Earning money is not a bad thing. But if that is the only goal you have, then that is a sad day. So one of my teacher, when she came to America one time, she is still a teacher in one of the schools in Karachi. She was telling us that at one time they had the parent-teacher conference or like show and tell. And she had opportunity to deliver a welcome note. So she said, I'm not going to take too much of your time. I just wanted to say this to the parents. Instead of saying, or instead of teaching your children, then when you grow up you're going to be doctor, engineer and lawyer, and how much money you're going to make. How about you make them a good human? And then anything and everything they do, doesn't not matter which field they are in, they will be a good smiley. Do you see the difference? Same knowledge, same school, same talimat, same children, same parents. Thoughts, mindset, different. Niyat, different. What he says? हर अमल का दारोमदार नियत पर होता है. All your actions are depending on your intention. Intention was to make your child a good human. And then if they are engineer, they will do good. If they are doctor, they will do good. Otherwise they still be doctor and engineer, but not a good human. So why don't we work on that side of it, of our children? Okay. Knowledge and seeking true knowledge is so important. Otherwise, we go to Jamaatana and we do anything and everything with the utmost humbleness, maafi, we are just wasting our time. But with the true understanding, with the true knowledge, anything and everything we do in Jamaatana and in our life will bring 100 and 1000% return back to us, to our soul. And then if you do the smallest deed in Jamaatana, it would be counted multiple times because you did it with understanding. Because now you knew what you were doing. You were just not following in the words of the Imam like a parrot and a monkey. ये Imam का फरमान में है. Don't follow your religion like a parrot and a monkey. They do what they see. They repeat what they hear. No. We are human with intellect. We are not monkeys, we are not parrots. So I wanted to emphasize and I need you to understand the true need and importance of the true knowledge. And once we understand this part, our life will change completely, because our understanding of things does not matter if it's at home, at work, or in the Jamaatana, because religion does not start from the Jamaatana and ends there. We live religion. Our walk and talk is part of ethic of Islam. And Islam, intellect and education plays a huge role. And in our tariqah, the tariqah which is batini tariqah, without the true knowledge, we cannot even see or understand our tariqah. So I'm going to stop here so we have a chance to ask question. How do I do that? What do I do? How do I get ahead? That should be our question. Ji.
So before we go into question, one thing which is also, we need to have it in our realization, because when we hear this thing, we think of knowledge, through knowledge becoming student, picking up notebook or reading Quran. But if we were to just keep on taking knowledge, it will not change the insides of us. On the other hand, a person goes to Jamaat Khana regularly, does do tasbihat and very pious in actions of doing things, but the inside heart is full of thoughts which are not same as his practices. So both the conditions are not the right condition. Meaning that with knowledge, if it does not change us as a person, it does not transform as a person, then it's again waste. So any action we do, either it's going to Jamaat Khana, either saying tasbihat or seeking knowledge, we should be able to feel change in ourselves as a person. If we are not changing, then even being in knowledge, we can still be like a parrot or monkey. Because here also we have opportunity to keep copying or to keep repeating. And that's what Maula says, that we should not be repeating, copying. That's not a part of human abilities. Human has an intellect. Whatever you hear, you process and you apply, and then you use it. So
there's a saying that knowledge without the action is no good, and action without the knowledge is even worse. So what she is saying, and I second that. So when we have knowledge, we should apply, bring it into the action. And do not take any action without understanding. So in one of the class I was telling someone, and she always stopped me and said, don't say that if you don't understand something, I would say, take a break for a second, ask someone before you take that action. It's okay to ask, and it's okay to say, I don't understand. It's okay to say, I don't know. I know that is a big thing. As a human, we have a hard time saying, I don't know, or I don't understand. Because हमको थोड़ी शर्म आती है कि I'm 40, 50 years old, how can I say I don't know? I've been smiling for all my life. So, if we understand the importance of the knowledge, what I would like you to do is write down a question or two. And the question will be, how? How do I do that? Why do we do this? Write down just question or two. Can you imagine amongst all of us, and normally we have 14, 18 people, that's 18 questions. And then we can cover those questions one by one. Because you may think of a question he cannot think of. He can think of a question that you cannot think of. But combinedly, all of us, we will have those 18, 20 good questions. And can you imagine if we understand 20 things in our tariqah, which we don't know today? We think we know, but we really don't know. And we will take that one at a time. For example, shoes company, hai zinda, dua karani, mimani, chanta, niyaz, dason, ibadat, nandi, mimani, awal sufra. Look at all the things we are doing. How nice it would be if we understood each one of those things.
So these were examples of the questions of only 3 hours of ibadat. How about the remaining 21? What are our questions? How do I make my religion way of my life, my imam my way of life? And if we have questions related to that too, we can ask.
Yes.
Because our religious books, our imams, our prophets have given us instructions about everything. Quran talks about every topic. So if we have questions regarding that, it is okay to make a scenario and ask a question. But a question which is mine, which has come from my heart because that is my struggle, it would help me learn the most. If I'm just trying to find a question, it's hard to learn because it's not your own question. You're learning, but when it comes from my own heart, I learn the most.
I want to give an example of this, and I'm going to talk about my mom. All right. Normally, people don't like to talk about their parents, especially if they see something wrong. Okay. But this is for our learning, and it's okay. For sake of learning, we can talk about it. So, one time, and when my mom was still with us, she would come to Dallas every year, and when she did, she would bring 2 of her sisters with her. All right. One lived in Chicago, one right here in Plano. I'm talking about Parvez Dadi over here. All right. And they will all get together and they will stay in our place for a week or two. Then they will go there and stay there for a week or two. They will go to the third sister and stay there for a week or two. So one time I come from work and I'm sitting at my dining table eating lunch. And I hear all 3 sisters talking. So I go inside, and with the most respect, and I tell them, I say, you guys are talking about somebody. What are the benefit of this talk? And this is part of our knowledge, okay? We are learning knowledge. I'm not talking about my mom. This is part of the learning how to do things and how to not do things. I said, what are the benefits? And look at their logic, okay? They say, but it's true. What I'm telling and what we are talking about is true. We are not saying which is not true.
सच तो बोलना चाहिए ना.
सच तो बोलना चाहिए ना. Okay. So, 2 examples, okay? One from Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. At one time, a man came to Prophet Muhammad and said, I know a person for fact he is doing something wrong. May I tell you? And Prophet Muhammad said, stop. No, do not tell me. He said, but it's true. And Prophet Muhammad replied this way. If it's true, then we are doing gossiping behind his back.
Gibat hogi.
Gibat ho gaya, right? And if it's not true, it's a slander. Ilzam tarashi karna. In either case, it's a sin. Do not make me part of your sin. You see that? Okay. So, I was telling my mother that, let's say, and I was just giving an example, okay? But remember, these ladies, they are smart. I tell you that. So I gave her an example. I said, कि फला जमात खाने में जो मुखियानी माँ है, I was just giving an example, okay? There was no मुखियानी माँ like that. बहुत ही मोटी है और बहुत ही ugly है. Would you go to Jamaat tomorrow and while you're doing your dua, you say, तू कितनी मोटी है, कितनी ugly है? Would you do that? She said, no way. I said, but that would be true. That would be true, right? But we don't do that. But from the behind her, हम ये करते हैं. अगर ये true है तो जाओ उसके मुंह पे बोलो. We don't do that, right? Now, this was one example. I say, in the other thing, अगर ये बात जो भी आप कर रहे हो, it was for benefit of that person. जब बोलते हैं काश उसने ये नहीं किया होता तो ये क्या होता तो
उसका भला होता.
तो उसका भला होता. Why don't you go and tell that person, give them advice ahead of time so they don't do the wrong? Or then I gave her the third example. And there was even at that time that was happening in Dallas. So we need to live our life practically, that's what I'm trying to say. If we truly wanted to help our brother and sister, help them when they need it. So all this has to do with the knowledge and your heart. So how do we help a person? And Molapa just in this 2 years ago in March in Houston said, Farman, lend a hand where help is needed. Right? How many of us are doing that?
And I like when you say that when you do a good deed, for example, it involves money. If somebody asks me for $1,000, and if I say yes, I can help you, and I give $1,000, think of that money gone. Never expect that money come back to you. Then it will be easier to accept. If it comes back, shukr mola. If it doesn't come back, shukr mola. That's how we can multiply that one deed to 100,000 times, right?
So helping with the money is not the only way to help people. And Mullah says clearly in his Farman, if you have a knowledge, give them the knowledge. If you have a know-how, teach them the know-how, the business. If you have education, give them the knowledge. See, money is not the only thing that we can help people with. You can teach them how to fish. You don't have to give them money then. But sometimes, while they're fishing and they're hungry, you may have to feed them a time or two. It's okay too, right? So while they are taking the knowledge or they are going to school, you can also feed them a time or two. And last scenario I'm going to give, and then we will stop. So there's a family that we know of, and again, I'm not judging anybody, this is just for our learning. How shame it would be if a brother or a sister, rich, filthy rich, and their brother and sister back home living in a hut, without electricity, without water. What is the good would it do? That Imam had given you the opportunity and brought you in this country and you made all that money. For what? So you can show your bank balance and your Mercedes and your huge house? No. What is the Imam's Farman for this? Making money is not an issue or problem. But then what? What is Mullah says? Keep what you need and use rest for the others. That is Imam's teaching. वहाँ कहीं भी इमाम ने नहीं बोला कि आप जाके पहले इन्वेस्टिगेशन करें कि हकदार है कि नहीं है. Yeah, you should have a method. I'm not saying do a stupid thing. I'm not saying that. But you should have a method to help people. You should always be looking for opportunity to help people, because that will make your Imam happy. So it's not about them, it's about you and your Imam. And to make him happy, you should be looking for opportunity to help others, because that's what he wants. And there are Ismailis who needs all kind of help, education-wise, food-wise, housing-wise, health-wise, and otherwise. There are a lot of Ismailis like that. You take whatever opportunity and capacity you have, on that level you go now. That's how you follow your Imam. जी.
एक बहुत अच्छा मौला का फरमान है कि you should become those people who are known in the Jamaat that if somebody has a problem, they can directly tell you, go to so and so and they will help you.
Yes.
That's just a paraphrasing, obviously, but it's you need to be those hidden people who are just known by some people. Whenever they are approached by that particular person, they can tell you, okay, go to so and they will help you. Material help always is not possible for everyone, so it's always good to be on the other side, knowing how to help others. Or be someone and have a set things that this is my limitation, I cannot help with money, but I can help in so and so things.
So ये इल्म की सीढ़ी ही की बात हो रही है कि इल्म की सीढ़ी जब हम चढ़ते हैं, then we learn how to transform ourselves to do more good deeds, so we can purify our house, so Imam can come into our house. Remember, we are going to Jamaat Khana, we are doing ibadat, but still we haven't had didar. We have Isma Azam too, we are doing ibadat, but we haven't had didar. So there is lack there, and this knowledge will help us. Ilm ki seedhi will help us to climb up the ladders to have the didar by changing the 21 hours which are spent somehow in worldly thinking and worldly things.
So we should stop here. It's already 8:30. So thank you again for coming in today. Ya Ali Madad.